Right? Walid bin Abdul Malik was the Khalifa. He was the ruler of the Islamic world that time. Walid bin Abdul Malik. His governor was Hajjaj. So this woman who is a prisoner who got captured by a pirate somewhere in what today we'd call it Sindh. In Sindh. Sindh is, you guys know what Sindh is? The whole Karachi area, that area, until the Indus River. That's called the area of Sindh. Okay? So this woman, she cried out, "Oh Hajjaj, help me." And then one of the pirates, he laughed at her, he said, "Hajjaj is not going to help you." But Hajjaj heard about this. When Hajjaj heard about this woman who screamed out for help, this is a Muslim woman, she's captured by some people, some pirates and everything. He sent an army under a general called Ubaidullah. Ubaidullah, he got defeated in battle. Then he sent another general, I can't recall his name right now. He also got defeated. Now Hajjaj sat down and he thought, you know what, these guys are good. In fact, there is some narrations which mentioned, either the Prophet ﷺ himself mentioned, I think he himself mentioned, that he praised the swords of that area. It's called as-Sayful Hindi, right? Which you would translate as the Indian. Indian means India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, the whole area. Their swords were very, very good. They were very, very good fighters. And they had elephants, right? The Arabs did not encounter fighting an elephant before in battle. That was something totally new for them, because elephants don't live in the area of Hijaz. So Hajjaj bin Yusuf, the governor of Iraq, he sat down and he thought, you know what, we have to do something about this. These guys are some really good fighters. So he prepared a really, really good army, a very strong army. And he made his nephew, Muhammad bin Qasim, the commander of this army. And he sent Muhammad bin Qasim into this area. And it was very, very difficult because so for example, you guys, most of us, we live in Valley Stream and we live in Elmont or wherever we live. We know the roads and everything. And as a general, it's very, very important that you know the battlefield. When you know the battlefield, then you can win the battles. But if you don't know the battlefield, you can lose a battle very, very easily. It's one of the most important rules of a battle. So this is a completely different land. Forget knowing the area. Completely new area. The Muslims have not been to this area. In this situation, the Arabs, right? They have not been to this area at all. They have no idea what is this place. It's a completely new place. And he was outnumbered. So he went to this town. This town, Muhammad bin Qasim, he went with his army. It's about 35 miles or so from today, modern day Karachi. Not far away from, we all know Karachi in Pakistan, right? So today Karachi is like the main port city. But in that time, it wasn't Karachi, it was a place called Debil or Debul. There's different ways of pronouncing it. That was the main port city. So Muhammad bin Qasim, he went there, and this city was surrounded by a wall. And the Muslims were not able to get in. But there was a very, very high flag. It was a red flag. And one person who left the city, and he went to the Muslim side, he told Muhammad bin Qasim that if you could attack that flag, they've put, you know what we would call, in today's word, in English you call it talisman, right? Desis would probably call it tawiz. They put like a tawiz at the bottom of the flag. And if you could destroy that flag, everyone's going to lose hope. So that's what Muhammad bin Qasim, they had this kind of, early cannons. It's called manjanik in Arabic, we call it manjanik. These early cannons, and he started targeting this flag. And this flag, it fell down. When it fell down, they all lost hope, and there was a battle, and they lost. But, before, I just skipped a few steps. When this woman was captured by the pirates, Hajjaj bin Yusuf, he wrote to one of the main rulers in the area, right, the Raja there, Raja Dahir. He said, listen, this is Muslim sister, these are these Muslim sisters and children who are captured, right? You go sort out these pirates, because this is your land, go fix up the pirates, and get our Muslim sisters and children back. So Raja Dahir, so this was, a governor to a governor message. It's a formal government level. Raja Dahir, he wrote back, he said, look, I don't know these people. I don't know who they are, and I've got nothing to do with them. Maybe he was speaking the truth, maybe he wasn't speaking the truth, we didn't know. But Hajjaj bin Yusuf got very angry because he said, you're the governor, even if you don't know these people, you're supposed to maintain stability and safety in the land. That's your job. That's the reason why Hajjaj sent the army. Because he wasn't getting the necessary support he was supposed to get. Anyhow, so this Raja Dahir, he was not in the battle of Debul. He went away somewhere else. And then after the Muslims captured this town, which is a very, very important town, Raja Dahir, he wrote a letter to Muhammad bin Qasim. And he said, you know what? It's best if you Muslims, if you guys leave from this area. If you guys leave, it's better for you. My army is very, very good. And if you value your lives, you're going to leave. Muhammad bin Qasim, he wrote back and he said, look, it's not about it's about having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He wrote, we have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you supported all these, these rebels and all these bandits. You're the one who's actually helping them against the Muslims, right? In different areas, Makran and other places. You're not fixing them, and you're not helping us. You didn't help us with our women and children. And he told Raja Dahir, you prepare for war. Long story short, to cut a long story short, Muhammad bin Qasim, he met up with Raja Dahir in a battle. Okay, so Muhammad bin Qasim, he first took over the whole Sindh area, up to the river, the Indus River, right? And then they had a battle. It's a long story, but I'm just cutting through it. I'm just making it short. They had a battle, okay, and he defeated Raja Dahir. And it was a huge army. The elephants were there. That's what in some of the early battles, the Muslims were losing. The reason why they were losing was because of the elephants. But what happened with the elephants is that to control an elephant, you need the rider. The riders, they sit on these platforms. That's when the Muslims thought, you know what? These guys, they need that, what we call a saddle. It's called hawda. It's like a box. It's like a tent on top of the elephant. So what they did is they targeted the tent on top of the elephant with fire, with arrows that were dipped in fire, with fire arrows. And when it got set on fire, then, and so forth. So Raja Dahir, to cut a long story short, Raja Dahir was defeated in battle. So this whole area we call Sindh, if you look at the map of Pakistan, the river right here, he controlled this entire area. He controlled this entire area. And he defeated the Raja at the river, and he was ready to go in to the rest of the area, which would be, the other side of Pakistan, India, and all of that. He was ready to go into there. But what happened was, Walid, who was the Khalifa, what happened was Hajjaj was the person who sent Muhammad bin Qasim. I hope you guys are following. I know it's a lot of names. Hajjaj is the one who sent Muhammad bin Qasim, and Hajjaj died. Hajjaj bin Yusuf is the same famous Hajjaj bin Yusuf. He died. So when he died, the ruler, who is Walid, he did not know that Muhammad bin Qasim is the secret, not Hajjaj. Hajjaj is not. So he said, he's obviously when you don't know the situation, it's best to be safe. He told Muhammad bin Qasim, stop any type of conquest, don't move forward anymore. After some time, Walid, he passed away. The next Khalifa was Sulaiman. And Sulaiman really did not like Hajjaj bin Yusuf. It's a long story, but what happened was whoever Walid appointed, Walid was the first ruler, Sulaiman is the second ruler. When Walid died and passed away and Sulaiman came to power, whoever Walid appointed as a general or any kind of governor, Sulaiman deposed all of them. So during the time of Walid, the Muslims in the east, they went all the way to the Indus River. In the west, under the general Musa bin Nusayr and Tariq bin Ziyad, they went all the way to Spain and even into southern France. They went very, very far. When Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik came to power, he stopped all of it. And then Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik, the ruler, he told Muhammad bin Qasim, come back. And Muhammad bin Qasim knew, this is a very extraordinary part of the story. Muhammad bin Qasim knew that if I go back, I'm a political prisoner, right? I have no future in front of me. But he went back because it's important to listen to the people in authority. He went back, he listened, he obeyed, because Muhammad bin Qasim was the undisputed ruler of the area of Sindh, this area of Pakistan. No one could reach him, and everyone loved him. He could have just disobeyed and said, I'm not going to go. But he listened and he went back. So that is basically, in a nutshell, the story of how Islam came on a major scale, Before, I told you in the beginning, there were some Muslim communities. There were some Muslim communities who they were living in that area from before. South India, Kerala, Sri Lanka, and so forth. So now the question that comes about is, why are we talking about Muhammad bin Qasim? So the point which I wish to make right here is, Muhammad bin Qasim, when he went out, he was 4 years in Sindh. 4 years, he was doing all of this. When he went out as the general, when Hajjaj bin Yusuf appointed him as the general, that Muhammad bin Qasim, at that time, he was 17 years old. 17 years old. Some of you guys sitting right here are 17 years old. And when he left Sindh, he was 21 years old. This is food for thought. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm trying to give you guys an idea of what you guys can actually do. We should not think, I don't have a job, I'm just a normal guy, and I'm just a kid, I'm just doing whatever, I go home, and then I go on Instagram, and then I see some reels, and that's my life. If you guys want to, you guys can do so much. But you guys have to understand that you're capable of doing so much. And this is the same thing, and this is the same thing in the Sahaba Kiram as well. You see this. Most of us have heard of the Ashara Mubashara, right? The 10 companions who were promised paradise. So Zubayr bin Awam radiallahu anhu, when he accepted Islam, he was 17 years old. Sa'ad bin Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu also was 17 years old. Abdullah bin Masud radiallahu anhu, he was the first Muslim to recite the Quran publicly in front of the Kaaba. And he got tortured for that in front of the Kaaba. And Abdullah bin Masud radiallahu anhu, when he accepted Islam, he was 15 or 16 years old. And this is literally half of you guys right here. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He speaks about Ibrahim alayhi salam in the Quran, right, He says, the whole conversation, Ibrahim salam, he had a debate with his people, with his entire community. Right? What did they describe Ibrahim alayhi salam as? They said, قَالُوا سَمِعْنَا فَتًى يَذْكُرُهُمْ يُقَالُ لَهُ Ibrahim. We've heard this young man. Who is this young man? Ibrahim alayhi salam. What's he doing? He is trying to convince his entire community, his entire nation, that you guys have to accept Islam. This is important. So, just like the way we have our Chinese sisters trying to do something for the sake of Islam, you guys also have to make intentions that we're going to do something. What is it? That's your future right there. But don't sit down and think, just because lots of other people, lots of other youth in your age, they're 14 years old, they're 15 years old, they're 17 years old, they're not doing anything. That does not mean that you also are going to do nothing. No, you can do a lot, but you have to make this intention. Coming on to actually speak about Ramadan, so I thought maybe what we can do is we can start off with a few things not to do in Ramadan. So we have the not to do list, right? We start off with the not to do list and we'll go to the things we should do. The first one, I know it's just really, really bad, and I'm also very hesitant about saying this first one. This is the not to do list, and I did a lot of istikhara and whether I should say it or not, but I'm going to say it anyway, even though when I say it you will think I'm from Mars. But I will still say it, inshallah, because you guys need to at least hear it. Inshallah, if you can at least hear it and someone says it, that at least it's been put out there. And the first thing I would just suggest and advise is, for the month of Ramadan, for only 30 days, in the entire year, only 30 days is put away the video games. I know you're all saying astaghfirullah in your hearts, and that's okay, right? Just don't say it loudly, right? But if you can put away the video games, or at least minimize them, it's going to be good for you, inshallah. Because what happens when you have so many things going on inside your mind, you have all these things going on, all these noises and stuff, and this is the same thing for people who listen to music, the mind stops working. It's all these external things going on. The mind itself stops working and they turn to this kind of zombie. And that's besides all the cursing and everything, which was the second point. During the month of Ramadan, while we're fasting, it is very important that we avoid bad language. And I know how it's so common today in the schools. Even the teachers use bad language, Allahu Akbar. Even the teachers are cursing and saying all sorts of stuff, right? But as Muslims, it doesn't matter if your teacher at school is doing it. We should try to stop using bad language. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that whenever you guys are fasting, he should not use bad language. Right? فَإِنْ شَاتَمَهُ أَوْ قَاتَلَهُ. If someone's trying to argue with you, so the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, if someone's trying to come to you and starts fighting with you, you tell him, إِنِّي صَائِمٌ, I am fasting. Meaning, in other words, don't respond. Don't start fighting with them. And sometimes maybe you're right, right? It's possible. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whether you're right or whether you're wrong, avoid the argument. Avoid the fasting. And Jarir bin Abdullah radiallahu anhu, a sahabi, he said that when you fast, right, لا تجعل يوم صومك ويوم فطرك سواء. Don't make the day of your fasting and the day of your not fasting the same. If you're fasting and you're cursing, there's no difference between you and the day that you're not cursing, the day you're not fasting. And this is actually, especially for the people who play video games, I know how it is, people are saying all sorts of things online. Right? This includes typing. Some people, they're very, very good. They don't say any bad words. They only type them out in their WhatsApp groups, in their Discord channels, right? And then I always say students have two different personalities. There is the real life personality and there's the online other side personality. Sometimes you don't even recognize the person. Whoa, this is the same person? Whoa, right? I saw some chats and I was like, Allahu Akbar, this is not possible. This is the same person. But it is the same person. So this applies. If you're fasting in the month of Ramadan, watch your language. Because Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, the person who does not give up lying and bad misconduct means any types of bad language, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it doesn't matter to Allah whether you're hungry, whether you're thirsty, it doesn't matter if you're using bad language. What this teaches us is that if you're fasting, it's not only your stomach that you're withholding, it's supposed to have an effect on you internally as well. This fast is supposed to change you, not just from physical actions, but as well as your habits. The third thing, does anyone remember the first one? That was the most important one.
The
Video games, Allah Akbar, yes, the bad one. The second one was bad language, right? No type of bad language. Any type of bad language. Really. Because this is part of the purpose of fasting. There was a sentence, a statement saying that when you fast, one of the scholars said, when you fast, فَلْيَصُمْ أُذُنُكَ سَمْعُكَ وَبَصَرُكَ وَلِسَانُكَ. When you're fasting, your ears, your eyes, your tongue should also fast. Meaning, Jarir ibn Abdullah, the Sahabi radiallahu anhu, he said this. Meaning, you should not be lying at that time. You should not be cursing at that time. Your tongue's also supposed to be fasting, not just your stomach. Now, the third thing is, you should lessen your social media. I know it's very, very important. Instagram and Twitter, and we have to know what's happening around the world because we're going to change one country at a time. Very, very important. So that's why we have to be on Instagram for 8.5 hours. But during the month of Ramadan, it's okay. Instead of doing 8.5 hours, just do 5.5 hours, inshallah. But you have to lessen it. We have to try to lessen our social media usage. Because if you actually think about it, what are we doing on social media, right? Yes, we are reading. But this month of Ramadan is for ourselves. We're supposed to be doing a'mal, increasing our actions, and so forth. The fourth one is, we should try to avoid very late nights. Very late nights. Because when you sleep at 3 o'clock, it's only natural. The next day, you're going to be in a very bad mood. You're going to be in a very, very bad mood until, you get the control in your hand again. Right? You're just going to be in a bad mood. So if you could try to, instead of 3 o'clock, inshallah, just sleep at 12 o'clock. And if you're sleeping at 12, sleep at 10. Right after you finish your tarawih, your salah, just go to sleep. Hit the bed. Because your body's already not getting food. Now when you deprive it of sleep, you're going to become very, very cranky. Which leads me to the next point. And that is, no shouting inside the house. I know this is very, very hard, especially if you have a younger sibling. Right? May Allah, make it easier for all of us. For all of us who have younger siblings. I know it's very, very hard. But this shouting in the house, whether it's at a younger sibling or even worse, at one of our parents, speaking in a bad, angry voice and being all grumpy, right? We should avoid this during the month of Ramadan. At least during the month of Ramadan. And we'll explain why. If you try just for 1 month, inshallah, it's going to make some changes. While you're fasting, yes, it's harder to be nice because your stomach is empty and it's growling. Right? This is why doesn't a Muslim in Ramadan play hide and seek? It's because they're growling in his stomach, right? But it's already hard. But let's try to show a good behavior to our family members. Outside, people are going to get used to it. But our own family members, because inside the house, we're very, very comfortable to say whatever you want to say, right? Let's show good behavior inside our house. And the last one is not to fight, not to argue with anyone, any type of argument. Just stay away from it. It's very, very hard, especially if you're right. And if someone says something to you and someone throws something at you, especially in class, right, you just want to fight back. But you have to remember what the Prophet ﷺ said to do. He said, Inni sa'im. Just remind yourself, I am fasting. Whether you tell him, whether you're telling yourself, Inni sa'im. It's not that only my stomach is fasting. My words are fasting. My mentality should also be the mentality of a fasting person. These are some of the things that we should stay away from, inshallah. That's also inshallah. I know, if I didn't see the video games, everyone would have said inshallah. But it's okay. Okay, so the first thing is, of course, fasting. We should fast. I think it was supposed to be 12 plus. So if you're 12 years old, you should be fasting, inshallah, and not do the half fast. Okay, inshallah, you do half fast. Do your iftar at 1 o'clock. Okay, that's a very, very. If you're 12 years old, that's a haram fast at that point. Okay, we should fast. The Prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, right? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyamu kama kutiba ala alladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. O Muslims, that siyam, fasting, you have to fast so that you can attain taqwa. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So you can attain taqwa. First Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ. Like the people before you, they also had to fast. And if you look at almost all the major religions, Christians, they fast. The Jewish people, they fast. Hindus fast. Even these Native Americans, they also fast. All the major groups of people throughout history, fasting has always been part and parcel of human history. So when you think about the fact that everyone also fasts, it also makes it easier for you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So that you can get taqwa. What does taqwa mean? Taqwa means to be afraid and to be aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to such an extent that it stops you from doing sins. Like, robbers are also scared of the cops. Thieves are also scared of criminals are scared of the cops. But they're still doing crime. They're still involved in crime. Why? So they're scared, but they're still involved in crime, meaning it's not enough for them to stop. Taqwa means we fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we're aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to such an extent it stops us from doing wrong things. Now, the point is that you do this for 30 days. It's 30 days of training. In these 30 days, just for 30 days, you stop, you hold yourself, you fight yourself as much as can. You stay away from haram for 30 days, so it's a form of training, and you practice, keep on doing this every day. It's not easy. So after 30 days, you will become a better Muslim, inshallah. Maybe you won't be perfect after 30 days, and that happens. But what we can do is, what's going to happen is we're going to become better. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make it easy for you. He wants things to be easy for you. Of course, the question is like, how is fasting easy? Right? Fasting is not easy. It's very, very hard. Especially after Asr till Maghrib, it's very, very, very hard. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's easy for you because you're going to fast for a couple of days, right? But then after that you get Jannah. And Jannah, that's the height of ease. That's the height of luxury, right? The second thing is we have to always, all of us should try to be careful and perform all of our 5 times salah. We're already supposed to be doing 5 times salah. Salah is the second pillar of Islam. During Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's time, no one would miss the salah. The 5 times salah in the masjid, no one would miss it, except the person who was, who they call a clear enemy of the Muslims. Besides that, there were some people, they pretended to be Muslims, but they were not Muslims. Even they would come to the masjid to pray. People who are not Muslims, they would come to the masjid to pray. That was during the time of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That tells us how important it is for us to pray our 5 times salah. And now, that's the second pillar of Islam. Right? You have fasting. Don't forget the second pillar of Islam, which is salah. And also, inshallah, because you guys are older, you should come to the masjid, right? And pray 20 rakats, pray tarawih in the masjid, inshallah. If for some reason sometimes some people have huffaz in the house, right? Pray at home, inshallah, but don't leave your tarawih. Tarawih is sunnah mu'akkad. That means you're not supposed to miss it out. You're not supposed to be missing out tarawih, any part of it. So make sure you come to the masjid, inshallah, and don't take your, 12 rak'at break and go upstairs, right? Some people take 18 rak'at break, right? Don't take a break. It's a bit more difficult for the sisters, praying at home and praying 20 rak'ats at home. Sometimes they come to the masjid, whatever works for them, right? But don't miss your tarawih. Make an intention, inshallah, okay? Make this intention that, inshallah, this Ramadan, I am not going to pray my tarawih. I am not going to miss any of my tarawih, right? Since in the last 1.5 years, more than 1,000 children in Gaza, in Palestine, have become Muslims, have become Hafidh al-Quran. So while their families are passing away, while their family members are getting killed, all of this is happening to them, what are they doing? What are these children doing? They are becoming Hafidh of the Quran, of the entire Quran in the last 1.5 years. More than 1,000 children youth have become Hafidh in Palestine. That's mind-boggling. If they could do that, we, with our full iftars, our very good iftars, right? We should be able to at least pray 20 rakats of tarawih. So let's make this intention, inshallah. The next one, inshallah, is to recite Quran. We should recite Quran. Even for some of us, we don't recite too much Quran. Even if it's just 1 or 2 pages a day, you should recite the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He introduces Ramadan in the Quran, you know what He says? He says, Shahru Ramadan. Shahr in Arabic means month. He says, Shahru Ramadan. The month of Ramadan is الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنِ, is the month in which the Quran was revealed. Now, according to some narrations, the Bible and the Torah was also revealed in this month. So it's a very, very unique month. This entire month is also part and parcel the celebration of getting the Quran. So if it's the month of the Quran and we're not reciting the Quran, it's kind of really wonky. Right? It really doesn't make sense. So some of us we don't recite so much Quran. Of course, the advanced Maktab students, if you're fluent in the Quran, you should try reciting at least one quarter a day. 1 quarter is 5 pages. If reciting the Quran is a bit hard for you, that's fine. Recite 1 page a day, but 1 page every single day. Make this intention because this is the month of the Quran, and during this month, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he would recite the Quran to Jibreel alayhi salam. And Jibreel alayhi salam would recite the Quran to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They would do what the Hufaz call revision. They would revise the Quran, read the Quran to one another. This is Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Jibreel alayhi salam, the greatest angel. So we should definitely be reciting Quran. The next one, especially for the teenagers or the older teenagers, right? It is sunnah to have suhoor. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Tasahharu فَإِنَّ فِي السَّحُورِ barakah." He said, have suhoor because in the suhoor there is barakah. I know lots of us, it's very, very hard, just to wake up at that time. That's what they say in English. During the day, right, we cannot stand because our stomachs are empty. And during the night, we cannot stand because our stomachs are too full. Right? So this suhoor, the Prophet ﷺ, he said to have it. Even if it's wala bi tamratin, even if it's a single date. Don't miss your suhoor. I know some youth, mashallah, they do exactly that. They wake up, one glass of water, their mother puts something in their mouth, they also don't know what they ate, right? Bismillah, and they go right back to sleep. All right, that's fine. Even if you're doing at least that, just make sure you're not eating in Fajr time, you know. But besides that, that's also fine. But have some suhoor. Now, so one other thing about the Quran, I just want to mention this because this is it's a nice point. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions in the Quran, He tells us, okay, you Muslims, you have to fast, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so you can have taqwa. So this is in Surah Baqarah, this is the second juz, right? What's the beginning of Surah Baqarah? Does anyone remember? Does anyone know the beginning of Surah? No, his students. What kind of? Alif Lam Mim, and then ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. In the beginning of Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, right, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ, that is the book. لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ, there is no doubt in this book. And then what does He say? This is right in the beginning of Surah Baqarah. هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. In this Quran, there is guidance. Huda means guidance for the muttaqeen. Who are the muttaqeen? They are the people of taqwa. The people of taqwa are the, so this Quran will benefit who? The people of taqwa. Who are the people of taqwa? The people who? What do we have to do to get taqwa, guys? We have to fast. I know you guys are thinking about the pizza. Don't worry, the pizza's coming, inshallah. Let me tell you guys something. Okay, you guys can all relax because when the pizza comes, we're going to go immediately, inshallah. As soon as the pizza comes. As soon as the pizza comes, we're going to go, inshallah. We're not going to even wait 1 second. It doesn't matter if I'm mentioning something very, very important. We're going to go upstairs the moment the pizza comes, inshallah. So you guys don't have to worry about the pizza. And there's a lot of pizza too, alhamdulillah, rabbil alameen. Today's a very, very good day. Right? There's a lot of pizza also, so don't worry about the pizza. Don't think about it. Right? But the point is, the Quran is going to benefit the people who fast. Why? Because when you fast, you have taqwa. When you fast, you have taqwa. And then the Quran is going to benefit you. That's when you're going to have الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنِ. طيب. So now we're going to just, if you guys have any questions, inshallah, you can ask questions about anything, inshallah al-aziz. Don't be shy, inshallah. If anyone doesn't want to ask a question publicly, right, you can ask Hafiz Mirsab and he'll just tell me quietly. Go ahead, that's fine.
There's this very big thing that you can, when you're doing suhoor, you can keep eating until the adhan finishes or until the adhan starts.
So the question was, can you continue eating suhoor till the ending of the Fajr adhan, right? So when do you give adhan, right? When is the time of adhan? The time of adhan, you can only give adhan when the time of the salah has already started. When the time of the salah has already started. So for example, if dhuhr starts at 12:13, and if I give adhan at 12:10, it's not going to work. You have to give the adhan of dhuhr after 12:13. So this is the same thing here. Right? You can only give the adhan of fajr after the time of fajr has come in. And once the fajr of time comes in, then you're definitely supposed to stop eating. So this is, if you know someone, if any of us know people who are eating during the Fajr Azan, you should definitely stop them. That is not suhoor anymore. That is breakfast. Yes? Can you swallow your spit? Yes, you can. But we should not try to gather so much spit in our throat. The question was, can you swallow your spit during fasting? So you can swallow your spit, but we should not try to gather so much saliva in our mouth so that it quenches our thirst. But if it just pools up in your throat, that's totally fine. Yes? So how many rak'ats you're supposed to pray during Ramadan? There was, I was just speaking yesterday to the students about this, that this is the senior scholar in Saudi. He's one of the senior muftis of the entire country. And he wrote because the Saudi government, for whatever reasons, they've made it the current number of rak'ats at 10. Right? And this was initiated while COVID was going on. But this scholar was writing that this lessening of rak'ats from 20 to 10, this should not have happened. It should have stayed at 20. And the dominant opinion in all four madhab it's 20. So there's no difference in regards to that. There's a judge, I'm not sure if he passed still alive, Sheikh Salim of Madinah al-Munawwara. He wrote a book, التراويح في المسجد النبي في المسجد النبوي أكثر من 1000 عام. The Taraweeh in the Prophet's mosque for more than 1,000 years, it was 20 rak'ats. Meaning the time from Umar radiallahu anhu till 2 years, literally 2 years ago, right? It's always been prayed 20 rak'ats. And this was the practice of the Muslim Ummah for a very, very long time. So if you had to go back in history, 70 years, 100 years, everyone would be praying 20 rak'ats. There was a tiny, very, very small number of scholars who would pray different numbers. Imam Malik, he has opinions up to 36 rak'ats. That's a lot of tarawih right there. And people would pray 36 rak'ats. In this one opinion, the Malik madhab, it's 36 rak'ats of tarawih. So 20 rak'ats, you have it easy, man. You go to some country, they're praying 36 rak'ats, plus with it. So that's a long tarawih. Even if you're doing surah tarawih, it's hard. Yes? It's sunnah to open your fast with dates and water, right? It's sunnah to do that. But you can open your fast with anything. There's some, if you guys ask me privately, I'll tell you some interesting ways some of the Sahaba Karam used to open their fast. They used to open their fast in different ways, but it's only for adults. But yes, you can eat anything. You can eat anything to break your fast. Now, yes, Mustafa.
Is it okay if I stay up until Fajr?
Is it okay if you stay till Fajr? If you're reciting Quran, yes, inshallah. If you're reciting Quran and if you don't have school tomorrow, that's okay. Otherwise, if you're staying awake, if you're going to stay awake the entire night, you're going to be very, very cranky the next day, and then you're going to start saying some bad words. Yes, that's what's going to happen. Yes.
At what age, is it mandatory to pray the whole 20 prayers for Tarawih?
The whole Taraweeh. What age? It's not an age. It's a physical process. It's when a person becomes baligh. They'll know. Yes.
What is the ruling on the moon sighting, as some people get their moon sighting for starting and ending Ramadan based off of countries that are from across the world?
So, if you go to the YouTube channel of the masjid, right? Our resident scholar and our Imam Kashif Sahib Damat Barakatuh, he addresses this in detail, inshallah. Okay, it's a bit of a detailed answer, so he addresses it in detail. Okay, inshallah. It's about 16 minutes or so. It's very good. Right? But if someone is not from this locality, they can follow their local scholar. Okay, inshallah. But if you're asking us, it's there. We follow local moon sighting, which is the moon which is sighted in America. Yes. What happens if you're traveling? So if a person is traveling, they don't have to fast that day, but they will have to do qada, which means they have to make up their fast another day outside Ramadan. So the thing is, the scholars say that if you're able to fast, you should fast, because even if you're doing a qada, let's say, so this year Ramadan is basically in March. Okay, so let's say you're doing a qada, you're waiting for December for winter, so the day becomes short again. If you do a qada, right, that fast on, let's say, December 19th, it's just a normal fast. But on the day of Ramadan, that's a Ramadan fast. So a Ramadan fast is always very, very special. So if it's just going to add a few more hours, you should fast. If you could do it. One time I was on the plane and the fast was great. It was fantastic. I was traveling. The fast was 4 hours. Subhanallah. There was 4 hour. It was 4 hours between iftar and suhoor and iftar, because I think I was traveling back in time. So sometimes it's easier. So if you can do it, the bottom rule is if you can fast, then you should fast. Otherwise, you have a choice if you're a musafir. We have time for 1 or 2 more questions, inshallah. We'll continue the questions upstairs, inshallah. When we go upstairs at pizza, we can still continue with that, but we'll just take 1 or 2 questions here. Yes?
Is there a recommended food to eat during suhoor?
Is there recommended foods?
Is there a recommended?
My Ibrahim is right there. He'll tell you he'll tell you about those foods which will give you sustained energy release throughout the day and all of that. My Ibrahim he's the person for that, inshallah. But dates is very, very good. These dates have really slow energy throughout the day. So especially if some people, they get very, very, iftar time, after Asr, they start looking like someone else and behaving like someone else too. Yes?
Some people have their Fajr time starting later than this.
Right. So sometimes you have this difference in calendars, right? So one masjid's calendar will say, Fajr starts at 5:44. Another masjid calendar will say Fajr starts at 5:40. Now, the time difference is actually like around 10, 12 minutes. But the thing is, we should go with the earlier timing because, all right? We should go with the earlier timing because that's safer. Because what if there's a slip up there, right? Because when you are going with the earlier timing, automatically you're safe with the other timing. But if you're going at the later timing, you're going beyond the first timing, right? Yes?
Should you pray with the first timing too?
No, you pray according to the second timing. So all masajid, they pray according to the second timing more or less. Because by the time you get to the masjid and all of that, there's always that. But if you're at home, someone's at home, so for example, let's just say hypothetical, Muhammadin Masjid, Fajr Salah starts at 5:40. And another masjid, it starts at 5:52. So we should stop eating our suhoor before 5:40. But we should pray our Fajr, this at home. Our Fajr, we should pray after 5:52. That way, according to that, both opinions, you're safe with your iftar and your suhoor. So suhoor, you go early, salah, you go late. طيب, one last question here, yes?
Let's say you like at the time you're mandatory to fast, right? And you have like a medication to take, but it's not like at the time of iftar or suhoor. Can you take it, or is it something else you do?
You have to look at the situation, especially if this medication looks like food, then. So people have to go to Muslim doctors. You have to go to a reliable Muslim doctor, and if you have absolutely no choice, and some people are like this, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, protect all of us and grant all of us good health. But some people are chronically ill, and they have to take certain medicines and everything. In that case, they won't fast, and they will give fidya, they will do some other things for it. They will pay some money in lieu of the fast. Hafiz Sab, shall we wrap up? Upstairs? Send everyone upstairs? طيب, inshallah. So we'll stop here, inshallah. Jazakallah to everyone for coming, and it was a good session. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make intention from now, inshallah, to take benefit from this Ramadan. I can't give you information, but let's get a bit serious this Ramadan, inshallah. Let's think about the other Muslim youth around the world. Be a bit more serious this Ramadan. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us tawfiq. We can go upstairs now, inshallah al-aziz. Quietly, let's go upstairs.